All right. Hi, everyone. I know it's 5:31, and I'm sure some people are still getting their computer set up. It looks like we have 7 people watching so far. The nice thing about doing this via YouTube and recording it is that you will be able to watch it again later. You can share it with family members if you feel like you need to discuss your decision as a family. If you are not able to join us live tonight, you can watch it later on. I have a bit of a lengthy presentation to go through today so that you all can be well informed as you vote on the extended or traditional or extended year and extended day calendars for next school year. And I have Mrs. Padilla kind of joining in with us to help moderate the comments and help me answer any questions. If you come up with more questions tonight, you are welcome to come to school tomorrow for coffee and conversation tomorrow morning in the East patio area. So right before you enter the school, we're going to have some coffee set up and we can chat. So I will jump right in. APS Extended Learning Time Program. This is the journey that we are going on tonight and into the future. So the New Mexico State Legislature introduced a bill, House Bill 5, Senate Bill 1, which was signed by Governor Lujan Grisham in April of 2019. This provided funding opportunities for schools to add 10 days to their school calendar per the Public Education Department and a minimum of 80 non-instructional hours per school year of professional development for instructional staff. The intention of this bill was to spur innovation and reform for our public schools here in New Mexico. I'm sure we're all well aware of our state's rankings within the nation. New Mexico tends to fall towards the bottom when it comes to our ability to educate our kids. And we think that some of that might be because our students are not in school enough days and our teachers do not have the time to engage in professional learning, especially within APS, because our teachers are only expected to work a 6.5-hour day. And I'm sure if you talk to any of our teachers, they'll tell you they work well beyond 6.5 hours. However, they're not compensated for that time they spend before school, after school, and on weekends. The hope was to ultimately expand educational opportunities for our students. APS has implemented extended learning at selected schools since 2017. So in the fall of 2017, 3 APS elementary schools were labeled in need of more rigorous intervention by the PED. Those schools were Los Padillas, Whittier, and Hawthorne. Now, if you had a student at Corrales in the fall of 2017, you probably remember Dr. Kim Fink. She was the principal at Corrales, and she transitioned over to Whittier to run the program over there and help turn that school around. In spring of 2018, district and school leadership submitted MIRA plans to the PED. In 2018 and 2019, that was the first full school year where schools, Whittier, Los Padillas, and Hawthorne implemented the extended day, so a longer school day for kids, and added school days to the year. And then in 2019, 2020, that was year 2 of implementation. We all remember what happened in the spring of 2020. Yeah, schools shut down and stayed closed for a little over a year. 2020, 2021 was year 3 of implementation. And the fall of 2020, the district started looking at plans to sustain and add more schools to this extended learning time plan. So here's a little bit about APS's beliefs and commitments related to extended school day. We believe that a professional work day allows for quality teacher collaboration, planning, and professional development time. It allows access to enriching opportunities for all students. It provides for an equity model for schooling that allows access to resources for those who need them most. and it is an investment in growing strong, culturally responsive school leaders and departments. This is where I really want our parents to pay some close attention. So if we think of New Mexico, we know our kiddos in APS are in school for 178 instructional days. We have some days off that our teachers work, like for parent-teacher conferences, but those aren't necessarily considered instructional days. The national average is 180 days. 31 states require at least 180 days. 4 states require only 175 days. 5 states require less than 175 days, and 10 states, including New Mexico, have no requirements. So we are a bit below the national average in regards to how many days our students are in school. If we look at our traditional school model, we can see that in traditional schools within APS, kiddos only receive 996 hours of instruction. If we were to add on 10 instructional days, kiddos would receive over 1,000 hours of instruction. And if we decided to implement extended learning and an extended day, students would receive 1,316 hours of instruction. I think these added hours of instruction would allow for students to participate in enriching activities, and it would allow teachers to have that time together to plan instruction for their classrooms. On April 6th, the Board of Education voted to continue allowing schools to make the choice that best fits their students' needs. So I'll summarize this slide. It's pretty text heavy. The district presented their ElTP plan to the board. The Board of Education voted 5-2 to allow schools to vote on whether or not they would like to implement this plan at their school. Both community members, so parents, you all, will have the opportunity to vote, and staff members will have the opportunity to vote as well. The school board felt it was important to allow communities to have the choice that best fits their children's needs. So here's what all these acronyms stand for. ElTP is just an extended school year. We would add 10 additional days. ElTP Plus is extended year, 10 extra days, and an extended day, so an 8-hour day for students. I know a lot of my mind right away when this was presented to me as a mom of a Corrales kiddo, I was questioning, okay, so does that mean that school would last until 4:45? Do we keep the same start day time? Do we get to come in at 7:30 and then kids could leave at 3:30? The district has not yet worked out those logistics. So unfortunately, I know, people are wondering, well, what time would school start and what time would it end if we voted for an 8-hour day? I would push our district to allow us to push the start of the school day to a little bit earlier so that kids could still at least be on the bus and dismissed by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we have our traditional, which is 178 school days and a 6.5-hour instructional day for students. The TOPS package is the extended school year and the extended school day, and would allow us to have possibly a school coordinator that would be a liaison with our community resources, and a transformational coach, which would work with our teachers transforming their instruction. So if you want to reach out to any friends that you might have across and around APS, in Zone 1, which would be the southeast heights of Albuquerque, Tomasita, Hawthorne, Whittier, Emerson, Kirtland, and Lowell elementary schools are using some variation of ElTP and ElTP+. In Zone 2, which is the South Valley, Armijo, Barcelona, Carlos Rey, Edward Gonzalez, Helen Cordero, Kit Carson, Mountain View, Navajo, Los Padillas, Atrisco, Lavaland, and Pajarito are all using some variation of the extended day. And in Zone 4, which is the northeast heights of Albuquerque, Bel Air Elementary School, Bellhaven Elementary School are using the TOPS model. You'll notice there's nobody on here from Zone 3. So Zone 3 is where Corrales is. We are the North Valley of Albuquerque Public Schools. So that's the zone we're in, and we don't have any ELTP schools in Zone 3 at this time. Pending funding availability, these are the options that elementary schools could access. We could do the TOPS model, extended day and extended school year, so 10 days and an 8-hour day. We could just use the 10 extra days, so it would kind of be more of the same. Traditional, which is what we have right now, 178 instructional days, 6.5 hours of instructional time each day. All right. I sent this out as a Google slide attached to an email for everybody to take a look at over the weekend. This would be the traditional calendar. So we can see here, August 3rd through the 10th are staff development days. August 10th would be the first day of school. You have all of the usual days off: Labor Day, Election Day, Veterans Day. Parent-teacher conferences are the same week as Thanksgiving, so that whole week there's no school for students. Teachers will conduct parent-teacher conferences during the Monday and Tuesday of that week. Winter break is the 21st of December through the 3rd of January. And spring break is March 20th through the 24th. If your brain works better looking at a calendar, this is what the calendar would look like. So the green shaded days are days without school. I shaded the yellow days as the last day or the first day, right? So August 10th would be the first day of school. December 21st is the last day of school before winter break. And this would be the second semester. All right, so for the added 10 days, August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd would be staff development days, and August 4th would be the first day of school for students. You have one day off for fall break and another day off for Indigenous Peoples Day. Veterans Day is a day off from school. Same Thanksgiving parent-teacher conference break, same winter break. You would still have Martin Luther King and President's Day off. Parent-teacher conferences are the 16th and 17th of March. Spring break is March 20th through 24th, still a full week. Good Friday, also known as the vernal holiday, is a day off from school. May 29th would be a day off from school, and June 1st would be the last day of school. So if you would like to see that represented on a calendar, here's what that looks like. So we see August 4th is the first day. You still have a 4-day fall break, a week off around Thanksgiving. Here is what the second semester calendar looks like. And if you'll notice, you still have a good, 2 months off for summer break, all of June, all of July, and a little bit of August. All right, here are some of the benefits of having that extended time. Teachers would have weekly job-embedded professional development. This would be critical for supporting staff, or for staff to be able to support students. Teachers could participate in the student assistance team. We could work towards having more family and student engagement. We could continue the work of our attendance team. I'm not sure if you saw on Channel 13, they let us know that Corrales Elementary had the strongest attendance of any elementary school in APS, so Corrales remains number one. We could have weekly whole staff meetings to address school improvement. Now for students, this is where I get really excited. Students would have the benefit of participating in Genius Hour. Genius Hour would be what we would do during that added hour of the day. It is a natural component of schools to cope with the instructional time that we lost during the pandemic closures. It would provide school-wide enrichment activities for all students at our school to help us better address the findings of the Yazzie Martinez lawsuit, and it would support equity in instruction. The extended day, including Genius Hour, would provide opportunities for enrichment and small group tutoring that would use evidence-based strategies. How will the additional days be used? Each school has unique needs and will have the freedom to design and use the additional days in ways that will have the most impact. Some examples could be extended time to dive deeper into core content, set aside days for project-based learning, use themed fairs like when we used to have the fair day and also our celebration of children to encourage things such as career exploration or allowing students time to present things they've learned about. We could also have jumpstart days that would aid students in transition to the next grade. So how could Corrales Elementary use that extended time? We could use Genius Hour for our Master Gardener program. It could serve our archery students. We could have archery practice embedded into the school day instead of added on to either the beginning or the end of the day. We could use that time for fine arts, for dance, drama, orchestra, maybe a school band, STEM instruction, a chess team, Battle of the Books teams, K-Kids, which was run through the Kiwanis Club. I know Mrs. Padilla was very excited about teaching cooking classes. Miss Gabby is excited about possibly running a 4-H club, which could then transition into Future Farmers of America as the students get a little bit older. I know a lot of us have participated in school-wide enrichment naturalism studies, citizen science, and partnering with the Bosque Ecosystem Management Project. One thing that really excites me about this extended day and extended time is being able to use these added hours as leverage to grow into a kindergarten through 8th grade school. I know there's a lot of interest from our school community in adding on a middle school to Corrales Elementary, so we could become Corrales K-8 community school. And I really think that would be a heavy lift for our teachers and our families. And having that added professional development time and the added days in our school year could allow us to make that dream a reality in a much more streamlined and organic way. So I'm a big believer in extended time because I think it will allow us to grow into a middle school. Here's just a little bit of data. I know these slides are blurry and a little bit hard to read. So Kirtland Elementary is a Zone 1 school. They're over here in the Southeast Heights. You can see that they started their reading level as measured by iReady. They were performing at a 2.4% in the beginning of the year. And thanks to extending their day and providing teachers with the time to collaborate and really target instruction towards students' deficits, they were able to grow that reading level to 10.3%. Now, take a close look at the steepness of this trend line here. You can really see 2% to 10%, right? Here is their math, right? We see another really steep growth trajectory from 1.24% students proficient to 7.7 students becoming proficient. Bel Air also has extended day and extended year. They're doing a great job with their Genius Hour. Their students at the beginning of the year, 5.3% of them were proficient, and they grew to 11.9% proficiency. So take a close look at that, the depth of that growth. Bel Air's math growth, we see another pretty steep growth line. Pajarito, from 7.8% proficient in reading to middle of the year, 13.2% proficient. And here are their math scores. Now take a look at Corrales, right? So Corrales does pretty great, right? A lot of our kids, are proficient as they enter our school, and they have a lot of home supports, and we have some really amazing teachers. Yet, if you look at our growth line, now this is third grade iStation overall reading, we don't see the steep growth that we see from the schools that are implementing the extended day and extended year. Our kids are doing well, but I feel like we could be doing so much better. And I worry that some of our kiddos may not be able to compete on the national level or on the global level as they approach high school and attempt to get into college. I think it's really important that we give them all we can and lay a really strong foundation when they're at the elementary level. And then they're ready to succeed as they fly from our little nest in Corrales. All right. This table here shows what teachers have to look forward to. So this is an example of comparing the salaries across ElTP. Now, I was doing the math with a couple teachers earlier today. So next year we have a raise to look forward to. We have a 7% raise to look forward to. The tier minimums for a level 1 teacher would be $50,000 a year, for a level 2 teacher $60,000, and for a level 3 teacher $70,000. Should we have an extended day and extended school year, teachers would have an additional 3% added to their salary, and they would also be paid their hourly rate for the added days. All right, so here's the process that we will be engaging in. Principals, that's me, we'll meet with district leadership, which I've already done, to go over a timeline for getting community votes. We schedule staff and community meetings, which we're doing right now and tomorrow. A couple teachers and I, Ms. Hessel, Ms. Padilla, and I went to visit a school that has already implemented the extended day and extended school year. We toured Whittier Elementary, and we were very excited about what we saw. The students were excited to learn. The teachers were positive, and they felt that their professionalism was honored, and they were very engaged in working with their students. The kids loved doing the projects within their Genius Hour, and it was just an exciting thing to see. At the end of tonight's presentation, I'll be displaying a QR code that you can use to vote. I'll also post the QR code on Class Dojo, and I'll send it out via School Messenger so that you have it available in a couple different ways. The final staff and community vote will be completed by May 1st, and votes will be tabulated by the district and provided to each school. All right, so May 1st is our last day to vote. So here are the guidelines. Families vote where their student is enrolled. 1 vote per family, regardless of parent marital status, custody, or number of children at the school. So if you have, 1 kid in every grade at Corrales Elementary, you only get 1 vote. If you have a kid at Corrales and a student at Taylor and then another student at Cibola, I believe you're able to vote at each of those schools. Pre-K families that have children that will enter their current school's kindergarten may vote. So while we do have community ed Pee-wee's program, that is not an APS pre-K, so I'm not positive that current Pee-wees are able to vote for next year. All right, and as promised, here is the QR code. We'll leave that up for a little bit. And for anybody who's watching, if you have questions, you are welcome to post them as a comment, and I will see if I can answer any of them. If not, I'll be available tomorrow morning with coffee to answer any questions that might have come up after listening to me go on and viewing the presentation from the district. And then Mrs. Padilla, I'm not sure if you're still available, but if you had anything that you wanted to add about what we saw over at Whittier, or what you might be excited about, should we engage in an extended day and extended school year?
I don't have a whole lot to add aside from what you said. I do think it's important that the teachers that we all spoke to were all really excited and they all were very pleased with the program. And the students that we saw were all very highly engaged and very excited with what they were doing. And it was a good time to go over there and see what was going on. So
Yeah.
it was a nice
I
time.
know in discussion with some teachers and some parents, I think there's a bit of a concern about having such a long day for kids. Um, at Whittier, kids were provided with a snack right before Genius Hour, and I don't believe that we would do anything different. I would also say, too, we talked to a couple pre-K teachers, so their kiddos are 4, and they said it hasn't been an issue, that kids have adjusted pretty easily. It was a bit harder for the adults to adjust, but the students adjusted just fine to having an 8-hour day, and they saw a lot more positive impacts. They felt, I know Stephanie Wallstrom was one of the pre-K teachers that we talked to, and she had stated, initially she was not very interested in having an 8-hour day for young children, but once she reflected upon that thought and was really honest with herself, she realized that 6.5 hours was just not enough time to accomplish what you needed to accomplish to prepare kids for the next grade level, or in her case, for a full day kindergarten. So, and I know I felt the same when I was in the classroom. It was not enough time to get through what we needed to get through. All right, I see one question in the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and show that, and I'll read it out loud. I see that school gets some funding when they decide to go extended year, but is there a different way to use the funding by school vote, like hiring more specialists or assistants? This is a really good question. And unfortunately, there is not a way to use that funding. It's specifically earmarked for extended school day or extended school year. So it's not like we can say, well, we'll take the extra money, but here's how we think Corrales could utilize it. The district does provide us with a certain amount of discretionary funds that we do use to that end. So next year, our teachers have noticed that they really feel like they need an instructional coach to help them drive their instruction forward. So that is how we have decided to use a large portion of those discretionary funds. But as far as the funding for extended learning, that is to be used specifically to pay teachers for the 8-hour day or the 10 extra days added to the school year? That's a really good question. All right, then we have Holly Trujillo. What accountability will there be for students that are attending every day? Will there be opportunities for perfect attendance or other motivators to get kids to be in the classroom? That's another really good question, because I could see people saying, well, I didn't vote for the extended day, but Corrales is still doing the extended day, so we're going to stay home because we didn't vote for that. This year, Miss Gabby has spearheaded an attendance team, and kids have opportunities to earn certificates for perfect attendance. They're all displayed in the cafeteria right now, and the students are very proud to go in the cafeteria and find their name for perfect attendance. I know that in the fall semester, students who had perfect attendance were entered into a drawing, and a lot of students won a pizza party. So the accountability will be there. We have worked with families to develop some strategies when we noticed that there were some attendance problems. So if families were struggling to get to school, we would have meetings with those families to try to help them develop some strategies for coming into school. And even just those meetings alone has really improved attendance for those specific families. As I said earlier in the meeting, Corrales elementary students has the best attendance for any elementary school in the district. So I'm pretty proud of the work our teachers are doing. Kids want to come to school, and it's a place that families want to bring their kids. All right, here's a question from Miss Monica. Is the secondary 6th through 8th grade addition contingent on extended learning? Also, what is the timeline to add those grades? So at this point, Miss Monica, we are not I don't really have a timeline. I met with my associate superintendent on Friday and asked her about it. She said it would be smart of the district because there's a lot of interest from the community in adding on and extending the grades at Corrales. So having 6th through 8th grade at our school, we have the space for it. And we also are slated to have some capital improvements that were voted on and funded through the mill levy and bond elections. And then along with those capital improvements, if we were to add on middle school, we could add a bigger cafeteria to house more and larger students, in addition to some larger bathrooms. Bigger kids need some bigger facilities within the bathrooms. One is not contingent upon the other, but I do see that extended day really allowing for us to engage in the staff development we need, and for students to have the opportunities to do a lot of the things that they will get to engage in middle school. So one of the questions that has come to me about, well, if Corrales becomes a K-8, would the middle school students still be allowed to participate in middle school sports? Would they be able to be in a school band? Having that genius hour would really foster some of those learning opportunities for, even our 4th and 5th graders, get them engaged and ready and learning about all those different things that they would be able to do in a middle school. And it would just allow us to sort of more organically transition into having more grades and older students at our school. If anybody's talked to me in the past 5 years I've been at Corrales, I've always thought Corrales Elementary would be a great fit for having a K-8 model. The interest from our community is there. The skill level of our teachers is there. And I think that we have a unique location that would allow for a middle school to be really successful. So I'm excited about it, but one is not contingent on the other. So ElTP will not automatically mean that we get to add on grades, but I think it will be a lot easier to add on a middle school if we are already doing an extended school day for the kiddos that we currently have. All right. I have a question from Miss Lisa Black. Do you think this could help Corrales Elementary kids catch up after the learning time they lost during the pandemic year? Lisa, you hit the nail on the head. I absolutely think that adding these hours in our day could help students catch up. The catch up would not necessarily happen during the Genius Hour. It would happen during the teacher planning and collaboration time. So having that 8-hour day, 8.5 hours for teachers as a work day for them would give teachers the time to analyze student data, to plan next steps for students, and then to target instruction towards student need. So I absolutely think you saw earlier in those graphs the steep growth that students experienced at schools that already have extended learning. I absolutely think that this will allow our students to not only catch up, but surpass where they would have been had schools not been closed for the length of time that they were closed. I also think too, the reality is while Corrales does an amazing job and we have amazing teachers and amazing students, I'm curious to know whether or not our students can compete at the national level when they start entering college, so post high school graduation. I think we are doing our kiddos a bit of a disservice in the amount of school that they are receiving, the amount of hours of a day that they spend in school. Most other districts in the state and in the nation have a longer school day for kiddos. So I think it's important that we follow suit. I think our kids deserve it. All right, I'll stay on for a minute or two longer if anybody thinks of any questions. And again, tomorrow I'll be available on the east side of campus if you would like to stop by for coffee and conversation from about 8:45, 9 o'clock until 9:30 or so. Okay, another good question, when will the results be broadcast out? The survey closes, I believe, at midnight on May 1st. So I believe that because the district is housing the survey, it should be available to all, shortly thereafter. I'm thinking as soon as May 2nd, I should have something that I'd be able to share, if not the following week. I know that this is a concern for a lot of us who have kids in activities. So Ms. Holmes is asking to please address the impact on the school day for those of us who have kids in other activity, along with impact on teachers' lives outside of the school. So this is a change, right? This could constitute a big change for a lot of us, and I know that change is sometimes hard to wrap our minds around. I spend quite a bit of money on activities for my kids to engage in outside of the school day. We have gymnastics, we have piano lessons, we have done soccer, we've done archery. So there's quite a few activities that I know our kiddos participate in. And I know with those activities, I didn't even mention camps that we participate in during the summer. They all cost money, right? ElTP and having a longer school day will allow our students to continue participating in a lot of activities that they do outside of the school day. And because they're provided through public schools, there won't be a fee attached to those activities. So I think as a parent, I see that as a positive. I don't have to pay a second mortgage to send my kids to camps during the summer, and also do the activities out after school that do cost quite a bit of money. They'll be housed within school. I'm looking forward to hopefully partnering with the Corrales Rec Center. I'm thinking it would be really cool if we had like swim lessons as part of the extended day. Maybe kids sign up for a genius hour where they get to swim. Also partnering with the Corrales Soccer Club. So if soccer is something that we do outside of school, maybe that can be a genius hour activity that we offer in school as well. As far as impact on teachers' lives outside of school, doing some math with salaries, it looks like a level 3 teacher would make a minimum of $91,000 a year as a salary. Should we have an extended day and an extended school year? Now, I see that as a really positive thing that would happen for my teachers outside of school. They would be paid a little bit beyond a living wage, and they would be able to, maybe relax a little bit financially. Something that I think is important to understand is that while our teachers are paid for a 6.5-hour workday, they work well beyond 6.5 hours. I don't think that the added hour to the day would change their lives all that much, other than the fact that it is compensated with appropriately with pay. I'm at school from 8 to 5. I see many teachers there before me, and I know there are quite a few that stay after. I know a lot are taking work home, and having these added hours to their work day would allow them to complete their work while they are at school. And I think that would only add value to their lives. All right, my friends, I think I've addressed all the questions that have come through the feed thus far. So I'll leave the QR code up for a little bit longer. And again, I'll post the QR code via Dojo, and you'll have it via School Messenger as well. Please feel free to vote. And I will see you tomorrow morning.